This is Biggs, and I'm here in the booth with JJ, and we're sitting here waiting for Captain ICT versus Zanos, Chaos Shanghaied versus Back to the Future to get started. The Vassal already has Captain ICT on board, and we're just waiting now for Zanos to show up so that we can get playing. And the good news about that is it gives us plenty of time to take a look at the preview and chat about the two opponents, what this game means to their teams, and JJ, being a member of Captain ICT's team, will have his own special take on that.
And we can tell. To correct you there, as I am actually the team captain of Back to the Future.
Right. So as team captain of Back to the Future, he has his own person that he wants to win, which is definitely not Captain ICT.
Yes. But I will try to give unbiased commentary, despite very clearly rooting for Zanos to win.
And that's just fine. Well, it wouldn't be unbiased commentary if it wasn't completely and utterly biased, right?
Exactly.
Let's take a look at our first preview, which is in the ships and squadrons each player is bringing. We've got on Chaos Shanghai, Captain ICT is bringing a pair of Nebulon Bs. Pretty stripped down, just Ramus, Antilles, and Yavaris on the one, which is an escort frigate, and just Salvation on a support refit. Nothing I'm sure anyone hasn't seen before there. The big boy in his group is the MC-80 Command Cruiser, coming in at a strong 142 points. His flagship with General Dodonna, Wallix Blissix, boosted comms, and electronic countermeasures. So,
by the way, guys, it doesn't sound like you're getting sound in the stream, as far as
well, that's not
able
good.
To hear us?
I'm not, and Dras is on there complaining about it.
I have the stream muted, so... I know Dras occasionally has sound issues, though. I have the stream muted, so...
Testing.
Yeah, I hear sound in the stream. I know Dras occasionally has
sound
issues, though. Buccaneer has sound. The stream muted, so...
Well, testing.
Yeah, I hear...
Oh yeah, I got sound. Sorry, Dras, it is your end. So, anyway, as we were saying, Paranebs, MC-80, the MC-80 not really set up for fighting, just relying on its natural dice to see it through, but really going whole hog on squadrons. In fact, the only real offensive upgrade that doesn't have anything to do with squadrons is Salvation, here on Captain ICT's list.
Yeah, and relying heavily on B-Wings.
Oh dear God, is it ever. There is not only 4 B-Wings, just generics, there's also Kian, and then he also tacks on Luke Skywalker, Dutch, and Jan Ors to round things out. So really heavily invested in the squadron fight, 131 points total there. And there's not a lot of intel from Jan Ors, but a lot of keeping things alive with Jan Ors. Because the only thing that's going to be protecting her, though, is Luke Skywalker. So if Luke Skywalker drops, then Jan is in a bit of a pickle.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing I also found interesting looking over the list is this would, to me, kind of seem like a typical independence type of list, but there's no independence in this list. So those B-Wings are going to be staying pretty slow.
Mm-hmm. He does have a pretty good deployment advantage over his opponent, but there's the problem with that. the deployment advantage that he gets is reduced by the fact that he really can't place that MC-80 far away from those B-wings. The only thing that he might be able to use that deployment advantage is for the salvation, and that's not really that much of an advantage.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think the deployment's going to be too surprising with the MC-80, which is probably going to have, Yavaris nearby to help with the B-wings. So it does make for a more predictable setup.
Meanwhile, his opponent, Zanos, has gone with a 138-point bid, so far, far underbid on this matchup. But that bid guarantees that he'll either be taking first place, or first player, which is what I would expect him to do with his setup, or force Captain ICT to take his objectives if he really thinks that his objectives will screw up those frigates and MC-80 and squadrons.
Well, my possible insider information would highly suggest that Zanos will be taking first player.
That's what I would have been figuring. So he's got himself an Assault Frigate Mark II, which is his flagship, clocking in at a slightly less blistering than Captain ICT's flagship at only 106 points. Again, General Dodonna, so it's a mirror match on Admirals, but completely different setup here. He's gone with a gunnery team on the Assault Frigate and electronic countermeasures to try and keep his Assault Frigate flying. Meanwhile, he's put a lot of points into his heavy hitter, which is an MC-30C Scout Frigate, which is 97 points. And that's touting ordnance experts, assault proton torpedoes, and turbo laser reroute circuits. So a lot of potential damage output from that ship just in and of itself at both long range and even more up close, with Lando and admonition to try and keep it alive if it does get close. And sadly, neither one of those two upgrades works all that well against the heavy-hitting B-wings that he'll be up against.
Well, admonition can help a little against a few B-wing shots, but if he's taking Yavaris B-wings, he's playing it a little wrong, I think. And it's kind of funny, ironically, this list is actually one I built because Zanos was a last-minute replacement on my team for Schmitty, who had to drop out. So I was able to find Zanos and basically had a few hours to throw together a list for him. So this is pretty similar to one I used a while back, and he has completely astounded me with how he's played, being the person we've given up as tribute every round, and he's totally come out with some amazing performances. So.
And we'll talk more about that and the matchups that both of these guys have faced going into this round here. And Zanos rounds out the rest of his fleet with a pair of CR-90As, both with turbo laser reroute. One has Jaina's Light, which is, it almost seems these days that Jaina's Light is like an auto include into at least one CR-90A if you have one. It's for 2 points, it's just turned into a almost why not sort of upgrade.
Yeah, for sure. It's just, if you have the points, it's great.
Certainly. And finally, he's taken not as many squadrons as Captain ICT. You can see he only has 77 points worth of squadrons that he's brought. And the squadrons that he's brought are set up pretty differently. In again, he's brought Jan Ors, and he's brought a pair of X-Wings. So Jan will have a little bit better defenses than with Captain ICT, but significantly less. Only 5 squadrons, and 5 being an odd number really doesn't help as much with deployment as it could, and he loses out on the deployment advantage there. And then rounding out his squadrons is a pair of YT-2400s, which he can use their rogue, especially going first. He can use their rogue to get in and engage squadrons that might have already been activated to move into position.
Yep, that's the pretty much the general idea with the list. It's kind of, it's our all-comers list for our team, which is why he has been thrown out as tribute, because it's pretty well rounded, some good fighter cover and medium activations and a hefty initiative bid. So it's worked out, and like I said, he's done very well with it. And I'm not even sure how often he plays Rebels, or if he's used a fleet like this before. It's just kind of thrust upon him, and he has surpassed my expectations. So,
well, certainly fair enough. Well, let's talk about the team tournament for a minute. And now this is the first matchup for round 3, and both of your teams have had different paths that they've taken to get into first and second place here and be matched up in what is essentially the finals. There's a couple other teams that have a chance, but they really need both you and Chaos Shanghaied to more or less play exactly perfectly badly.
I think if we split evenly, I think would be the best for them. Or maybe my team come out slightly ahead, kind of close the gap, but not enough to make a difference, I guess.
Yeah,
I find how interesting the team tournament has been with its scoring. It's been a very unique kind of look at how some of the ability to choose matchups, as well as just how the games have played out, on how all this scoring has worked. Because I don't think we anticipated that a lot of these games would be as close as they were.
Definitely not. And that was the story of the first round. The highest scoring team in the first round got all of, I believe it was 21 points. And the Chaos Shanghai, your opponent here, actually found themselves in first place after round 1 by getting 24 points off of the bye, because everyone else split their games so well. I mean, there's a couple of 10-point games here and there, but they were all tempered by low-scoring games on the other end. So really, the matchups in that first round were very even.
Yeah. And I think that's cool, and it's funny because we're kind of getting some different results now just from the initial games that have been played from this round, where we had three 10-0s already. They were split on both sides of the matchup, but it's kind of crazy.
That's right. And so then the second round, Chaos showed that they deserved to be in first with an absolutely dominating performance against what was the real surprise from the first round, which was the first-time Vassalers team. And they just really dominated that game. Those 3 matchups, coming out with, I believe it was 25 points. I got to look that up real quick.
Looks like the game itself is getting ready to get rolling. Fleets are on. Witty banter is commenced.
That's right. I got it switched over to gameplay so that we can see the banter and hopefully the deployment going on and which objective is selected. So it looks like Zanos has chosen to go first. So Shanghaied, I'm sorry, I said 25 points. Shanghaied actually got 27 points against the first-time Vassalers, which is just an absolutely dominating performance, catapulting them. Right now they stand 8 points ahead of Back to the Future, with Back to the Future putting up still the second highest round 2 and the second highest round of any in the tournament so far, pulling in 25 points. So good on you guys.
Woohoo!
And Zanos has been your rock star, hasn't he? He's won both of his games by a score of 7 and a score of 8. So he's currently leading your team in total points as your tribute.
Yeah, exactly. Like totally Zanos for MVP. Like, yeah, he's been doing great, and I'm thoroughly happy to have him on my team. Great player.
Hell of a last minute ad, which is that's really nice, especially seeing as how he was a last minute ad to replace Schmitty, who, for those of you paying attention, I believe was the winner of the U.S. Nationals.
He was the runner-up at the North American Championships at Gen Con.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of nationals. I guess there's like a specific U.S. nationals. I think that's held at Origins.
I thought there was only one nationals or one U.S. or North American or whatever it was. There's only one this year, and it's going to be a North American regional this year, and a separate U.S. nationals. I think is how they changed it up.
That in the future. I don't think they had Origins last year, where it was just the North American Championships at Gen Con, which I was actually able to attend. Actually played Schmitty in the 5th round at the 3rd table, and he took me out and moved up to 2nd. So actually had a chance to meet him and play him. So I was really glad to get him on my team, but then unfortunately things didn't work out. But another fantastic player.
He is, and he writes a very excellent blog that updates a bit sporadically. Heartily recommend that everyone have the chance to check that out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's like when it comes to strategy articles, he's like the Stephen Hawking to my Bill Nye.
Your articles are pretty helpful as well.
Looks like hyperspace.
Yeah, hyperspace is the chosen objective, and overall, those are all pretty tough objectives for Zanos' list. I think hyperspace is probably the right choice there.
I've got to agree on that as well, because it takes away the deployment advantage that Captain ICT had, because now he's got to take one of his 2 ships and maybe one of his squadrons, and that might put Zanos actually up a little bit on deployments.
Yeah, it will have that effect for sure. Now, he is going to have to be careful because he doesn't want Yavaris and, Luke, Key, and B-Wing dropping down.
No, he does not.
Because if Captain ICT can set up a situation where Zanos wants to activate his torpedo frigate first, but he can't because he has to save a CR-90 or his assault frigate from Yavaris B-Wings, that'll be a really good use of hyperspace assault.
I'd be more worried about it this is me as a Recon player talking, and Recon has been my go-to for the last little while here. But speaking as someone that plays a little fast and loose, I really wouldn't mind sacrificing a CR-90 if it meant my MC-30 would get a devastating attack in.
Yes, that is partially true. I mean, the Turbo Laser Rewrote CR-90s do a lot of damage in this list, aside from their activation boost.
They definitely can.
And I think another main points of hyperspace assault, which now that I'm thinking about it, may have made me drift more towards like precision strike, is the fact that I assume Yavaris is going off the table. And if you don't know where Yavaris is, you can't plan to kill it. And in this list, Yavaris is probably my first target, coming from Zanos' point of view.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, Klon, I know you don't like Riken. In fact, it's because Klon, I've got to say that it's because of your hilariously fun and awesome and really wonderful list that, and one of my buddies picking up that list and deciding to fly it all the time, that I've become a big, big fan of Riken.
Yeah, he's growing on me more as well. And I definitely come to see him as, some people say he's horrible. Some people say he's, not many people say he's the be all end all. But I definitely see him as a very balanced admiral with just a kind of completely different playstyle, which is kind of fun to explore.
Yeah, that's he changes the entire Rebel strategy completely on its head, which is pretty fun, actually. But enough about Riken. This is Dodonna versus Dodonna.
That it is.
It looks like they've gone with spreading out those obstacles a little bit. We've got debris scattered about, a couple of the rocks in the one down and left, one about midfield all the way on the right, and a station with rocks near it, but not like right near it.
Yeah, I have a feeling that both players with Dodonna versus Dodonna, they just kind of wanted to spread out those asteroid fields because they're bad for both players.
Yeah, I don't think either one of them wants to have anything to do with obstacles. I'm honestly a little bit surprised that we didn't see just all the obstacles clustered in the corners. So they're still out there, but they're so far away from one another.
With Jaina's Light, Zanos does have a little bit of play where you can kind of use some of the asteroids as cover.
All right, well, we're going to be seeing tokens for hyperspace come down and which ships are being set aside. I bet it's Yavaris.
I think that's a pretty good bet. Can't tell you the number of times, though, that I've misplayed my hyperspace assault Yavaris. It took me several tries to finally get in the hang of getting in a good position. I would either rush my deployment or position badly for planning on my opponent to be able to activate first, and then just, expose the Nebulan side arcs or have my squadrons out of range, and yeah.
And it looks like it's Yavaris, Luke, and 2 generic Bs set to the side.
I find that interesting, actually, leaving Jan without an escort. So I would totally expect Zanos to be jumping on Jan at the first opportunity. This may signal a early hyperspace in from Captain ITC, trying to get Luke back in and his activations back in as soon as possible.
That is entirely possible. And here are the hyperspace deployments coming in. And they're being bunched around midfield. Or at least they were. Well, so far we've got one in the almost setting up like they're minefields with one in the middle of the rocks, one in the middle of the other rocks, both in the triangle that's pointed above the station, and one that is out of the play space, which is, I think, not quite allowed.
Well, the objective does say in the play area, and this is the play area. It's not the deployment area, but it is the play area.
Well, all right then.
I have not actually seen anyone do this before, though, so I'm not 100% sure. But looking at the card, I think that's perfectly fine. Now, this is really interesting. I think
It really doesn't say setup area? I almost want to go and get out my card and make sure.
I think this really signals that Captain ITC is planning on playing defensively. He's really limiting his hyperspace in options, which means Zanos could just deploy on the other side of the board and not really be in any danger of being hyperspaced in on. So I assume Captain ITC is going to be deploying his ships, behind the space station and behind his hyperspace tokens.
That's what it looks like. It's looking like Captain ICT knows that Zanos needs some points against Chaos. I mean, he can go for the 5/5 draw if he really wants to, and leave it up to his other two teammates to try and score those points. But he really wants to get at least something out of Captain ICT here.
Looks like that token is being shifted back inside the deployment area, so it may not matter.
All right, well, while this is going on, I think now's a good time to talk about our keys of the game. So our keys of the game here, the first key of the game is tempo. And by tempo, I mean that Zanos has the more maneuverable ships, and he is the one that needs to score some points off of this. So the tempo is how quickly will Zanos engage, and how hard will he be willing to engage? What's he willing to risk? And if he risks a lot, he may stand to get a lot, and if he risks very little, this could very well turn into a 5/5 draw, with both sides being entirely happy about that.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
All right, and the second key of the game is the squadron fight, because while Zanos can determine where, when, and how he engages, he is probably not going to win that squadron fight. He might be able to keep it close, but the question is where and when are they going to engage, and can Zanos use his squadrons to hold the bees off? And if he does use his squadrons to hold the bees off, is he just throwing them away?
Yeah, that's a very good point. I think, especially with Luke being off the board as the only escort, if Zanos can get in a good alpha strike with the assault frigates, with the X-wings to Jan, and then the 2400s coming in the squadron phase, he could potentially swing the fight in his favor to where he'll at least come out even. If Yavaris drops in and starts double tapping anti-squadron shots, Zanos just doesn't have the numbers to win that fight outright. But if he can delay and kill 2 to 3 to 4 squadrons, he's well made up for the effort. Even if he loses all of his squadrons and the points, he's done. They've done their job.
Right. And the final one that I've got here is protect the big boys. Now, on the board right now, the biggest boy is that MC-80. And Zanos can afford to throw away basically any ship that he has chasing that prize. But conversely, he cannot afford to throw away his flagship, or he can't afford to throw away admonition if he doesn't bring down that MC-80, and he certainly can't afford to lose both of them in the process.
Yeah, for sure. Admonition is built to survive. It is an insane amount of points. hits like a truck, but it definitely costs the points to hit like a truck. So yeah, losing any of the big ships in this game or the MC30 will be bad for both players. Will be bad for the player who loses it. Possibly trading a CR90 isn't going to be as harsh, but it really depends on when that happens, because being even on activations could also hurt Zanos significantly early on.
That's right. Well, it looks like the first two deployments have occurred. We've got the assault frigate. His flagship, the Danny DeVito, is set up in the top part middle of the map. So it looks like he's going to try and cut it across and at least make a pass around those hyperspace assault points. And the MC80, meanwhile, for Captain ICT, has also dropped and is positioned down about where we expected it would be, looking at that station and going only speed 1.
Yeah, he's definitely planning on kind of sitting back behind his hyperspace protection, and I think his setup as well. It'll also, if he just plans on running the MC80 straight up the board, it's going to prevent Zanos from trying and flanking on both sides, because the last thing you want to do is give an MC80 an opportunity to shoot out of both sides.
So that's certainly true. Looks like Jaina's darkness, which I'm guessing is actually Jaina's light, has been put down to the left of the assault frigate, coming in slightly faster at speed 3. And now we're getting the fighter screen.
Yep. And I expect we'll see Zanos do the same. Only 5 squadrons to deploy for each side, so it'll just end up being a wash.
5 squadrons for each side means 4, and then that last one has to come out at the end.
Yep.
One of the reasons why hyperspace assault has always felt a little weird to me, pulling in just 3 squadrons out of your deployment always seems to leave me with an odd man out.
Yeah, and I've seen players, in fact I did it in my last round match against Truthiness, where I had Instigator hyperspace in, and he just had 1 squadron with him. Left my other ones to deploy normally for both the deployment advantage and for being able to use them earlier.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Though yeah, Zanos having 5 squadrons as opposed to 6. When I create my lists in the past, I hadn't really given as much thought to that extra 1 squadron for the activation or deployment advantage, excuse me. I've come around a little more since then, but just based on the team bid we wanted, his fleet needed to be a little cheaper, so wasn't able to quite get a 6 squadron.
And since he was the sub, he had to deal with it.
Yep, exactly. But it does work pretty well with the 2 X-Wings and Jan being the squadron activation of the assault frigate, and then the 2 YTs being able to go first usually in the squadron phase with Rogue.
So tell me a little bit about your strategy for the 3 lists for the Back to the Future team. I know you've already said that this was kind of the take on all comers list. What about your other 2? Tell me about them and the matchups that they've faced so far.
All right, so kind of quick rundown. Madigmire's list is a 4 activation, or maybe it's 5 now. Second guessing myself. Wow. One moment, it is in front of me.
You can look it up on my website, xwingtactics.blogspot.com.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug is shameless.
Right, it's a 4 activation list with 2 turbolaser reroute corvettes and then 2 MC30 scout frigates. Pretty loaded up. And it's a Riken list. Riken is on one of the corvettes. We wanted a Riken list just to have at least 1 in our group. And it has a very low initiative bid as well, which we've kind of second guessed now at the end, being like, maybe we shouldn't have gone with such a low bid. with a Riken list, just because they've kind of been at odds a little bit throughout this tournament. But I mean, Riken hasn't been used all that much, which is great. It means Madagmeyer's doing a really good job in how he's moving his ships.
Riken is not there to be used. He's there to potentially be used.
Exactly.
And sometimes actually get used when you really need to park something in front of some place where it's not supposed to be.
Yeah. So Madagmeyer's list is 383, so it has a 17-point bid. We really wanted the lowest team bid if possible, and we did accomplish that. So we were able to dictate, 2 of our 3 matchups, and it's worked out pretty well for us. So Madagmeyer's list is higher activation count, low bid. It's built to outbid possible Demolisher lists, so that it can take away that first activation that Demolisher wants. And then also to possibly deal with some other higher activation lists, which is actually what Madagmeyer has been facing, is high activation lists, and he's done pretty well so far. He's done very well.
Excellent.
My list is an Imperial list, swapping over, which is something I don't do very often, but need to practice both sides. And it is a 4-ship list because, man, I love my activations.
Who doesn't?
Exactly. 2 Gladiators, a Victory, and a Raider. So no ISDs. It's hard to fit in multiple activations with an ISD. I love Screed and Black Dice, so yeah. The list kind of came about a while when I was just toying with the idea of being able to kill Intel squadrons efficiently. So it has some kind of interesting synergies. A Gladiator 2 with Ruthless Strategist for some extra anti-squadron. Instigator on the Raider with Ordnance Experts. Mauler Mithil, Bosk. Actually have Shirano instead of an Intel character in my own fleet. So it's really built to take down squadron lists.
And there's something that you don't see much anymore, is with Intel. Shirano's kind of fallen out of favor, which is kind of surprising when you look at it and see that those Intel ships cost 12 points for a generic, and Shirano, while he does fill up that all-important officer slot, he's only 10 points.
Yeah, he's definitely expensive, but in this fleet, I went with him over in Intel Squadron, or Dengar, because I was really low on squadron activations. I mean, I guess I do have, Gladiators, which I didn't really account because I don't usually ever use them as squadron, but my Glad 2 probably could have done some squadron commanding. But I just figured with having 1 carrier and a smaller number of squadrons, I didn't want that extra squadron I wouldn't be able to push around as effectively. So yeah, it's gone pretty well with my games. I'm having a hard time remembering my first round now. It's been a little while.
And it looks like we've got Admonition going in for a kill.
Yeah. My guess would be trying to skirt around to hit Salvation and then on to the MC80.
That's what it looks like. He's going to try and angle his way around the rock and try to go so quickly that either he forces a hyperspace in and can buzz away, or because going first and only having that 1 ship all by itself, he's going to be able to activate it first if someone hyperspaces in right next to it.
For sure. And again, with the same line of thinking, he's going to be able to avoid giving the MC80 multiple shots from both its side arcs with good maneuvering.
Yep, that is definitely the case, and definitely a going for the jugular by Zanos here. He wants those points.
Yeah, it's a pretty aggressive fleet with Admonition in the bid for first player. It really does want to get up there, hit you hard, and kind of skirt away. High maneuverability, high punching fleet, but it does have to be careful because some of its ships aren't all that strong.
People doing terrible puns in the chat while things are deploying.
Yeah, I'm seeing all these. We even have a not clone here, so yeah, the anti-clone.
All right, so everything is set, and we are on to we're on to dials, I believe.
Should be. Expect to see Dutch trying to trigger YT2400s, most likely. Here we go.
Yep, sure enough. Turn 1, setting commands. I'm going to be away for about 30 seconds here.
Alrighty. These jokes they are atrocious.
Ooh, just some really painful puns.
I do enjoy puns. Get face palms from my family most of the time.
Yeah, Draz, as for your comment in the chat there, I probably am immune to just about any disgusting thing you could feasibly talk about.
Yeah, I have a little bit of that in me. My mom was a surgical technician, and so grew up watching a lot of like Discovery Channel health shows and surgery shows, which, yeah. Just get used to it.
Yeah, sure do.
Not much first-hand experience though, which I'm sure you have more with.
Yeah, I've seen some things and smelled some smells. The good thing that is I have been blessed with an absolutely terrible nose. Basically, I can't smell anything, which is
Wow.
a absolute godsend in emergency medicine.
I bet smells are one thing that will get me. I just, oof, smells. I have a hard time with those sometimes.
And I don't know how it happened either, because my mom can smell a Jolly Rancher from the other side of a bus. But
Wow.
but I can handle hold on a second.
No problem.
Sorry about that. Slight drama in the house. A cat jumped directly onto my girlfriend, and chaos ensued.
Yes. We caught just a tidbit. Getting some comments in the chat.
Mm,
I may have suppressed a chuckle.
I take it you got the "aw fuck" from the background.
Yep.
Always excitement. No, nothing but excitement in the big stream. Well, I think I know the answer to Matt Shadowlord's question. Yep, everyone gets it too.
The.
What's a female Mandalorian called? Your first ship.
Well, ships are always female. Well, not always. Sometimes female. I have a hard time referring to Demolisher as a she. Its sheer up brutality has made it into a he for me.
Not an it. Or that damn thing.
That too. But
or, oh god, why won't it die?
That is very true, yeah.
And off goes Jaina's Darkness. Taking the token. And beginning what can only be an attempt to flank. Oh, Matt. No. No. That doesn't even just... No.
Move along. Nothing to see here.
And we've got Dodonna. Taking a...
straightforward.
Banking that repair. Chugging right along.
Now, I'm curious if Admonition is going to flank hard, try to get to the side of Salvation, and then move, to the rear of the MC-80, or if he's just going to try to go park in the front arc and just go for it quick and get out of there.
That is a really good question. And based on how he's angled, it looks like he wants to run it straight in at full speed and then hook around and straight out at full speed.
Yeah, that's definitely, I think, the right choice. Is wherever he goes, he needs to be moving fast. He probably is going to even end up jumping up to speed 4 at one turn. He probably could still pull off moving into the front arc. If Yavaris drops in, you shoot, get your double arc off on the front of the MC-80, and then speed 4 over the MC-80 and get away.
So an update on the background noise situation. It turned out to be some actual injury with cat claws digging in.
Cat claws. Dangerous things.
Alright, looks like the DeVito flagship went navigate, takes the token, and is also coming in. Looks like we're going to have a fight on our hands.
Yeah, we're going to be a little careful, because obviously in a broadside duel between, or medium range broadside duel between the Assault Frigate and the MC-80, the MC-80 is going to come out a little bit ahead on that one, especially if Yavaris drops right on that first token there.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he's trying to bait Yavaris in and then break back out outside of that asteroid field.
Maybe. He doesn't really He doesn't really turn all that hard with a assault frigate, though. So he's got to be careful not to bait it too hard.
For sure. I think with a nav token, should still be able to pull it off or with a nav command, I should say, should be able to pull it off fairly easily. But it all depends on what he's planning on doing, because he probably needs a squadron command if he's planning on getting that Alpha Strike. In fact, depending on how the squadrons move, we could see a squadron command next round.
Yes, we could. Entirely possible, but maybe not from the B-Wings.
No, probably not from the B-Wings.
Ooh,
Salvation.
that's a fast-moving Salvation.
For sure. Positioning itself behind an asteroid field. I think that makes it really tempting to kind of cut into the front arc of the MC-80.
Oh my, yes. Hell, it makes it really tempting just to do the original strategy of rush it hard, fire a broadside, and run.
Yeah, very potential. And I think there's almost a point where he could just let Salvation move along if he doesn't get a good opportunity to shoot, because with the way it's pointing there, Salvation's several turns from the fight now if it doesn't get to shoot
yeah, that's admonition is basically the only thing Salvation is going to be even remotely going to be looking at.
Yeah, by the time it could get back around to the left, those ships are going to be long gone.
Well, yeah, I've been driven mad before by by games.
Wait, what? I think I repressed those memories.
Lock them down in a deep, dark place where they will never again come back.
Admonition is activating using the navigate, jumping up to speed 4 right away.
Coming in and coming in hard.
Might be trying to line up that double arc right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do not land on that asteroid field, though.
No, no. But can he get that? Can he get that shot?
That looks like a pretty good maneuver to me, actually.
Looks legit. Probably out of the MC-80's arc. Or definitely out of the MC-80's arc by the time he activates it first next turn.
Yeah, the question is, where exactly will he be moving next turn?
Did he get that juicy double?
I think so, but it's obstructed to the side.
And what kind of range from the side?
Yeah, that one's gonna be a little close.
But on the plus side for Zanos is he's going to absolutely avoid that Salvation.
He will, for sure. Now, my question is, if he activates first next round, though, he's going to be sitting in the front of the... Yeah, you got the double arc in close range. He's going to be sitting in front of the MC-80, yes. But I don't think he has enough movement. He doesn't have enough movement to get past it. So if Yavaris drops in, he's going to be taking a lot of B-Wings next turn. And trading admonition for Salvation is not a trade you want to make.
Not for Salvation, no, but if he can use it to put the put the hurt on the big boy, then that may be a trade he's willing to do. That being said, the rest of his heavy hitters are way outside of the battle right now, and he's going to have to hustle to get them in.
Yeah, I think I may have preferred, if I was playing, to be a little more conservative with admonition. Kind of store that token, get ready to really move in next turn, because that way I'm free to use my carrier as a squadron activation at the top of the next round to get an alpha strike, hopefully tie down some of the bombers, because he can't do both at the top of the next round. And those B-Wings should be able to get in range to get shots on admonition, and they will if it's going first for sure.
Well, here's something else, is he may be counting on no squadron commands being banked by that MC-80. Because it doesn't have flight or it doesn't have what's that, wing commander. So it's got no way of, if it doesn't have squadrons already banked in, there's no way of getting the squadrons activated.
That is a possibility.
But it means putting his ship in such a place where he's not engaged by those, or he's not within distance one of those squadrons.
Yeah, for sure.
And they can certainly form a cloud.
So I'm really wondering if we'll see Yavaris hyperspace in this turn.
That's a fair question. If he doesn't hyperspace in, he may be waiting. He may be waiting for the assault frigate and CR-90s to get a little bit closer. Looks like he's moving his Bs to screen from that MC-30.
Yep. Admonition's definitely going to be taking some damage.
One way or another. Best case scenario, he avoids the B-wings and takes a broadside. Worst case scenario, he avoids the B-wings, takes the broadside, and takes a B-wing activation.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be super worried about the broadside with Lando. Should be able to mitigate it to fairly low damage. But yeah, this could be a close one for admonition here. Depends on if Yavaris comes in or not. The great thing about admonition, though, and a Speed 4 MC-30 is if it survives this next round,
it's gone.
It's going first, and it's gone. B-Wings aren't catching up, and 3 red aren't going to cut it at a long-range salvo from the MC-80.
More activations. Looks like Jan creating a bit of a security blanket around those B-wings.
Yep.
Which means that the other squadrons could theoretically get all up in and tie those B-wings down without Jan being engaged.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is where if he's betting on there not being a squadron command, if there isn't a squadron command, I think this plays out really well. But if there is a squadron command, it may have been better to wait for that extra turn to get the alpha strike with his squadrons, because if Yavaris doesn't hop in this turn, which if admonition isn't there, it probably doesn't. There's probably not enough of a threat. And being able to jump in on Jan unprotected, possibly kill Jan will totally swing this game in Zanos' favor. If Jan
But-
dies, the B-Wings are fairly worthless.
But where does Yavaris jump in? Looking at those tokens, Yavaris could jump in and eat a broadside, or Yavaris could jump in and be pointed in a place that it doesn't particularly want to be.
It could potentially come in on that middle point, maybe being faced downwards, kind of the same way as admonition. You know, potentially. I suppose yeah, he probably couldn't get out. He could get out of range, I think, he has enough distance with the token to be kind of more in front of the assault frigate, but then still have the B-Wings behind him, threatening admonition.
It's a question. I don't really like where those hyperspace tokens went in the first place. But then again, I think I said that when they were first going down.
Yeah. If Yavaris does not come in, I think this looks really good for Zanos.
And if he does come in, I'm not sure how much he'll actually be able to contribute, aside from the squadron activation. Shoot with who?
There, speaking of Yavaris, I believe Zanos quipped that if he brings in Yavaris, will he even get to shoot with him?
Ah.
Or not get to shoot with him, but if he will shoot with him, they have their running joke that neither of them is going to fire a shot.
Right. I was thinking that he was going to shoot with Dutch, which didn't make any sense at all.
Definitely not. Yavaris.
Here he comes!
Well, this
Ooh,
is likely to take a little while, as there's some careful thinking, so I will be back in a moment.
fair enough. I will be right here. So it looks like commentary from the Twitch stream seems to be in a consensus that there's not really a good place for Yavaris to pop in, and popping in anyway. And here comes Yavaris. Hopping in. Looks like he wants him pointed in the opposite direction. And completely in the front arc of admonition. Not sure I entirely agree with the strategy here.
I think he's trying to make sure that Yavaris will have squadron range to both B-Wing clouds that will be positioned. Because if he puts it too far over, he loses the chance of Yavaris double taps with those squadrons in front of the MC-80. And also, just in the front arc, there's no way Yavaris can die, even with the best possible roll from a single front arc.
Mm-hmm. But it kind of puts Yavaris in pointed in a direction that he does not want to be pointed, and on a collision course with that MC-80.
My guess is Yavaris will be speed 3, try to pop out to the left of the MC-80.
Well, we'll see how that goes. This could be very, very good for Yavaris.
I think we can safely say that Admonition is going first, though.
Yeah, I think we could. Although if we don't get those Yavaris, if those squadrons don't threaten Admonition where he is right now, he may be able to stall,
Well, yeah,
eat some shots.
True. If he kind of leaves those squadrons behind that asteroid, like he's almost thinking on doing, depends. You don't want to be taking Luke shots with a MC-30, though.
No, you don't. Oh, yep. Well, I think we can bet on Admonition going first now. Hey, Draz, question for you. Can squadrons overlap an obstacle on deployment from hyperspace?
I believe they can.
I'm like 90% that they can. But Draz is 100% sure at all times forever.
This is very interesting. Now, I think based on these, it's looking kind of like Admonition is going to get one good shot off, and then it's going to really have to run. Might not even get shots next turn. Maybe it'll get a side arc, depending on where it moves on the MC-80. But yeah, I think getting Admonition out of there as soon as possible is top priority. Let it do its damage and move it away. The TRC-90s can do massive amounts of damage to that MC-80 because it has no evades, and it will chew through them.
Oh, yeah.
So I wonder if Zanos will take the shot at Yavaris, or will concentrate both arcs, now probably both obstructed, at Salvation. I'll take this. I would take this side shot, see how much damage I do to Salvation. If I have a good chance of killing it, I would definitely go for the kill in lieu of damaging Yavaris.
And Yavaris has been set for speed 1.
Wow, that is really interesting. Maybe he's planning on ramming himself on top of the station?
I mean, that's an option. Actually, that is an option.
It's an option. I mean, the problem is you're dealing a damage card. You're not dealing, basically instead of dealing it to both ships, you're just dealing it to the non-activating ship. But you're still taking a damage to each ship each turn, so.
Mm-hmm. It's an option.
He could be even planning on, just trying to do a hard turn and move Yavaris directly in front, perpendicular, out to the left, since, the MC-80 is only going speed 1. Ooh, and looks like we do not have an obstructed shot.
So we're going to have some murder. Zanos seems to be thinking the same thing with that double arc.
Yeah. TRCs, Ordnance Experts, APTs, Dodana should be pretty brutal here. Especially if he manages to get a projector misalignment. Drop those front shields. That would seal Selby.
Oh god, that would be...
100%.
But that's betting on a 2 out of, what, 38 chance?
2 out of 52, isn't it? Well, I guess, yeah, because you're drawing 4. I'm not that mathy.
Oh, right, yeah, it is Dodana, so chances are...
Whatever the odds. If someone wants to calculate the odds of drawing 1 of 2 cards when you're looking at 4 out of 52, please let us know, but don't tell Han.
And I don't think it's 52 cards total in the deck. I think it's like 38 or something.
No, it's 52 because you have to buy 2 Fantasy Flight card sleeve packs in order to sleeve them all. Ba-dun-dum.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And but does that include all of the upgrade cards as well in those 2 small 50 pack?
Oh no. Just the damage deck. You need 2 packs.
Shows what I know. I already sleeved mine so far back I can't frickin' remember. Thanks, Jason. I think Jason has managed to tune in.
Yep.
Hi, Jason. What's your thing in the chat now? Are you Woo Fame, Jason? Making for exciting commentary, Captain.
It's very intriguing. Witty banter is always good. Something I tend to lack at when I'm playing a game, especially competitively. A little too focused.
Yeah.
Those who
Little
can
hyper-focused.
manage their banter, kudos to them.
Let's do this.
Big
Navigate. You can slow down to speed 2.
Speed 3, I believe. Yeah, he's at.
Well, he's got a token. Or no, he did speed up to 4. He didn't get the token.
Looks like Captain ITC was expecting a concentrate fire. I found that I would like a concentrate fire when I'm shooting with my MC30s, but I seem to need the navigates too often. Either that or an engineering to move some shields or something.
Because as a ship that is really dependent on positioning, you need that navigate so much more to keep that thing both shooting and alive. Alright, here we go. We've got our first shot of the game.
Probably going to be
1 less red. So 3 blacks and a red. Pretty respectable roll. He'll re-roll the blank.
Yep.
Brings it to 5 total damage. He's got his black critical.
And
he can spin it up, but he doesn't have to. Yeah, and probably shouldn't.
I probably would have gone with re-rolling the single hit as well, just because of the chance of basically he has TRC. So
Yeah, and
getting
yeah,
that extra damage could have been, he could have gotten extra damage, but he wasn't really risking any other than using a token.
all right, let's see what the pain is. 4 potential cards.
Ooh, no projector misalignment.
No projector misalignment. Both damaged munition cards, a capacitor failure, and a thrust control malfunction. I think capacitor failure may be a damaging one. Sorry, stepped away to grab my damage deck.
The capacitor failure is where you cannot redirect or recover shields in a zone without.
Well, not particularly pertinent then.
Nope. We'll have a damage munitions though, which will reduce return fire if salvation does survive.
And thrust control malfunctions reduce the current, or reduce the last yaw value on the last adjustable joint by 1, which was not taken.
And there he got his
Ooh.
crit already. I would just TRC that, and that's a kill.
Yes, it is.
3 in the crit.
And there's that projector. Oh, there it is.
Wow, I'm pretty sure that was the first card he drew as well. So it was the 5th card in the deck.
Not that it matters. Kaboom anyway.
Yeah, irony for you.
Yeah, pretty much, Zanos.
That was good tempo swing early on here for Zanos. Removing a ship definitely makes that activation game even stronger. If Captain ITC can't kill something fairly soon, he's really going to struggle with Zanos taking 2 activations after he's moved his entire fleet.
That's right, but if he has squadron commands or even just gets a little bit lucky, admonition will not hold up well to a squadron fight.
Yeah, we'll definitely,
and
take some hits.
Yeah, and that's not the trade he wants to make.
Can always, discard a token though for those hit crit black dice if it really, really matters, especially against Luke.
Oh yes, doubly especially against Luke. Although I don't think Luke's going to be the problem because he's going to be able to get away from where Luke popped in. So Luke will get 1 good shot on him, but not 2 if he goes to activate Luke. That is not the right That is not the right movement template.
Definitely
No.
not.
No.
That's great. Yeah, Caribbean Ninja, you definitely have it down. Captain Icy does have to kill Admonition, and Admonition, on the converse, then has to not die. That's why it's Admonition with Lando. It's supposed to survive.
Ironically enough, Admonition lives better if he can get into the broadside of the MC-80, because
Yeah.
Lando would keep him alive.
I would very much consider moving to the left side, if possible, of the Zanos tank. I don't think he could really get to the right side and still have enough maneuverability to avoid going off the map. It depends on what he has planned command-wise. If he can just get even a parting shot out of the side arc on his way out, Admonition will definitely have done its job.
If Admonition can just survive, Admonition's done its job, taking 58 points off the table already. But then again, if it can't survive, then it really hasn't done its job at all.
Yeah. Looks like Admonition is thinking of circling away. I mean, that is the distance away from the squadron, so that interesting thoughts and ideas here. He could just kind of move to the station as well, just to the right of the station, so that the squadrons that are already there would have obstructed shots. So if they're gonna Yavaris, they're not gonna be getting good shots. I mean, B-Wings will just lose the blue, yes, but still better than nothing. Better than taking full Yavaris shots.
Oh, much better than fully. Those B-Wings are certainly acting as a very big deterrent right now.
Yeah. I would definitely consider going to the right, kind of landing in the broadside, possibly even, turning as far to the right as you can manage. Plan on circling off that way.
That may be what he's thinking of here. Looks like he's planning on trying to come in and double arc the MC-80, which is an awesome idea.
For sure.
Which means if he can survive, then he will be in a really good position for the first activation next turn.
I think that maneuver he had with the extra notch turned in, I think that's probably the one he would want. Gives him, an angle that will hopefully keep him on the board, because that's the main thing he's looking at. Is he's only going down speed 3 if he has a navigate next turn. That's the slowest he can go, so yeah, you don't want to be pointed off the board at this point.
No, you do not.
Trying to will Zanos with my mind to get that extra click on the end. And also measure from the other side of the ship, since that's where it actually is going to be moved from if he does that.
No, I don't think anyone likes those positions for you, Zanos.
It is true, Captain ITC. Zanos did shoot first.
Like Han.
You can claim whatever ethical superiority you wish.
I'm sorry, I screwed up that joke. The joke was supposed to be like Greedo, he shot first.
The intensity is real right here. I'm feeling the tension. Probably more than some of the viewers.
Come on, we don't want a 5-hour game. Let's go.
The witty banter is take precedence. No Caribbean ninja, he should not notch the tool like that. Turn one more click on the end.
You can't right there. Nope.
Can't. Yeah, you actually can't do that. Even though, oh, I wish he could. I wish he could. That'd be ideal.
Maybe he's got to navigate. Maybe he wasn't thinking that he'd be all up ins on the MC80 and firing concentrated fire shots.
Navigate next turn. That's seeming kind of iffy for me. Dropping down to speed 3. He's doing it. He's going for it. All right.
Do it.
You better have a nav.
Coming in hot. Coming in hot.
Gonna be taking a double arc from Yavaris to the rear, broadside from the MC80, and a couple squadron shots.
That's more than enough for admonition to handle.
Should be able to. I've had the little beastie take loads of punishment. I don't think I've lost a Orlando admonition yet.
So who's going next? And does the MC80 have a squadron?
These are the questions we ask. Oh, that's Kian, isn't it? Who has a, yeah, it's Kian who's in range, but you'd have to lose a black die, which is not what you want from Kian.
No, it is not.
Depending on how much focus goes on the admonition, which I'm guessing will be every single possible shot. Yeah, I think you're right, Kirby Ninja. We're probably seeing Lando used, probably one evade discarded, possibly both redirects used and discarded as well. Really depends on the dice.
And then we see where everything winds up.
Yeah. Now, another thing to note is the assault frigate may or may not have a squadron command. If it does, it's going to possibly be tying down whatever squadron don't get activated right now.
It looks like we're going with Yavaris.
Right.
And what is Yavaris going to fling?
Well, should be interesting. There's Luke.
Bringing in Lukey.
This, if he rolls a hit crit, the evade is gone. Ooh, do you take the single hit from Luke? Probably.
Probably.
I would.
Nice try.
Face down, though. Not the end of the world. And you should probably have...
Something you can afford to take.
Yeah.
No one's got XI7s. No one's got anything funny to screw with your redirects.
Yeah. Other than accuracies, which we could see some accuracies out the side there of Dodonna's tank, so...
Entirely possible. And here come more bees. Ooh.
Where's the Bomber Command Center? Talk about the upgrade card everyone's hyped for.
What, repair teams?
I've said to multiple people, like, the only thing missing, I feel that is missing since Wave 2 release is a way to reroll Squadron Dice. I've said it for a long time, and so I was like, so pumped.
The way to reroll all my X-Wings Bomber Dice. Bring them back as the multi-roll fighter they were meant to be.
Exactly.
Being able to re-roll that red and fish for that double.
Or just re-roll my blanks.
Yeah, re-roll all those. Yeah, re-roll the 3 out of 8 blanks is the big one.
And that accuracy too.
Actually make it so that X-Wings with bomber are actually more efficient at shooting ships than an A-Wing. Thank you.
Yeah. Should definitely be unobstructed. 100%. I do like part of the maneuver too that admonition did is keeping it from getting rammed by these other ships. So that's very good because you really don't want to be taking extra hull damage if you can help it.
Certainly not. So far it's got 1 hit onto its hull, 1 shield, and 1 shield off the rear and 2 shields off the side.
I may have taken that one on the rear. You have a triple shot coming in the rear next shot.
At least take 1 point on the rear.
Yeah.
Maybe he's figuring discard for this one.
Yeah, it's better to be able to actually, discard the token to prevent damage than actually have to discard it to redirect. But now the MC-80 is definitely going to be shooting the side, so.
I'm thinking burn the red evade on this one. Those evades aren't going to do you any good right now.
Yeah. I suppose he's probably wanting to keep shields for Kian. He doesn't want Kian to be re-rolling if there's a squadron activation coming.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But can't really avoid it here, so.
It really hinges on whether or not there is that squadron activation. Because squadron activation, he's toast. No squadron activation, he unloads and flies away. And then probably dies.
Yeah. However, it all depends. If he has a squadron command on his assault frigate, he could be tying down some of those squadrons. I doubt. I don't think they got the range to really completely gang up on Jan, but you never know. Stranger things have happened.
You can at least hold down Dutch and one of the B-Wings. And force Jan to move to get one of them.
Oh, he's admonishing a redirect, which I do not like.
No.
You need both your redirects to make sure you have one available to get your front shields used on that side shot from the MC-80.
Yeah, I would have burned the... I would have definitely burned the red evade.
Yeah.
Those evades aren't doing you any good except for offense at this close range.
I think that's the right choice for sure.
That could be a very telling one.
We are going to see some overlapped squadrons, which is going to mean they get put possibly far enough away to make things interesting.
Oh yeah. Getting moved.
And if there's no squadron activation, this means admonition doesn't take another squadron shot.
Not even from Kian. This could be big. I know Kian overlaps, and maybe that other B-Wing does. I'm 90% that other B-Wing does too, and so does Luke.
Yeah, Luke, the B-Wing, and Kian are all overlapped.
And getting them into a spot where they can't be jammed. Easily, at least.
Yep. You know, now that I'm looking at this, I'm wondering if Dodonna's tank has line of sight to admonition's side. I think it does, but it's kind of close based on that angle.
Well, I'm sure we'll see in a little bit here. That's something I've been wondering too. And
if he does not, if he only has line of sight at the front, then using that redirect isn't near as big of a deal. I really hope we have a squadron. Oh, we do!
Oh!
Yeah, baby!
Here comes the blockers. And it looks like they've got Jan and the two X-Wings for activations.
Yeah, it looks like, yeah, zooming in, the YT is just barely out. At one of the zoom levels, it looks in, but you zoom in a little farther and it's out.
That's just weird.
Don't think Jan has enough range, though, to shoot at the other Jan.
No, you don't want to. You don't want to. I don't really feel like they should go after Jan. I feel like what they should do is pick some targets and engage to tie them up to try and keep admonition alive.
I think that's the right case, considering the fact that Jan can't attack Jan.
Or go and attack Jan. You know, either way.
If he had all three squadrons being able to attack the Janors from Captain ITC, I think he would have had a fairly good chance of getting rid of Jan. But without three squadrons attacking Jan, probably should spread out.
And as you say this, he's going after Jan.
Yeah. So after that, maybe he was just moving into one, seeing with the roll if he could get some hits there, enough to make it possible to kill Jan with the other X-wing. Now though, he has no way. So unless Jan 2 can get in there.
2 can definitely get in, but he won't be able to kill Jan all by himself.
No, that'll do.
That'll
too.
almost do it.
Does Jan have range on Jan?
That will be the question.
These counters doing nothing as well.
Alright, let's see if Jan can make it in there.
I think he may have thought his YT was in range, but it is not. Or, well, now that I zoom in even more, it's kind of confusing.
He wants that YT to be in.
Man. Oh, man.
But it is out. No such luck. Sorry, Zanos.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I think there's a little bit of red. Just a hair.
Not once you get into the high zooms, unfortunately. I can still see that red.
Just barely. And now I say, why on earth didn't I put boosted comms on this assault frigate?
Because gunnery teams looked a lot more appealing, I guess?
Well, you can do both.
You said something about having a bid.
That's true.
How close can you get?
Jan does have range, I think.
How close can you get?
Oh my goodness! It's in.
Oh, it is. It is. Just got it.
Wow. Wow, wow.
Wow. That's a hell of a squadron activation right there.
Now, don't get ahead of ourselves. We need at least one hit here.
Blinded by the light.
Let's see if we can get a hit on 3 blues.
Just need one.
There's it.
And there it is.
Oh my goodness.
Just enough.
This game just swung majorly in Zanos' favor. Zanos taking the risk this game, and they're paying off for him.
We said he controlled the tempo, and that he did.
Yeah, wow, wow.
That's some tempo right there.
See, I'm going to officially right now plug everyone in the stream here. If you haven't voted, go vote for Zanos for MVP. Please, he has been playing so very well considering he didn't build his fleet and he's been given no choice that matchup at all. Shameless plug.
Let me go and grab that link for the people in the stream. And that right there is the link to vote for your MVP of the tournament so far. And while I would recommend people to vote as often or to vote once they know who their MVP is, I would caution them that they may want to wait until the end of the tournament, just in case something even more spectacular than that happens. Besides, this game's not even quite over yet. Alright, we still got another activation to go. It is a squadron command, and now we're going to see some shots back.
There was a squadron command.
So that block and killing Jan was huge.
Enormous. I'm fairly certain.
Ooh, God, just no.
Wow. Wow.
That is some dice not cooperating right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, those blues do have the opportunity to be the most fickle of them all when it comes to anti-squadron shooting.
Yep. Can I speak for the second most exciting upgrade of Wave 3? Torin Far.
Oh my, yes. She's going to find her way onto many, many lists, I think. But maybe not as many as Agent Kalos popping into Imperial lists for mirror matches.
Yeah. I think Callus is very, very potent, especially considering he gives you that boost for most anti-squadron shots where you have a possibility of 3 damage, since, aces usually all have at least a brace. Getting that 3rd damage to get above the brace threshold is really, I think, where he's going to shine.
Well, there's
an accuracy where you need it.
There's the roll he needed.
Yep.
And splashes one of the X's.
Still got YT 2400s coming in. Dutch, again, because Jan dying. Dutch tied down, not able to shoot at a YT. So they will both get their full complement of shots. I would definitely be careful of moving those YTs in range of Dutch, however. Because you don't want to be getting shot at next turn.
No, YTs they do not.
Probably going to jump and tie down a lot of the rest of the B-wings that are currently free.
He does have that side arc shot. So discarding the redirect may come back to haunt him here.
Yeah. We will see. Yet another huge roll. Lots of modification, defensive modification going to be able to happen.
Oh. Plenty of accuracy.
Way more.
Way more than is needed.
And with no rerollable modification, that is it.
And that, kids, is why you put leading shots on the big boys.
Yeah. My guess is maybe admonition the evade, get rid of the crit, just take the shield.
That seems like the most safe bet.
You know, if you're, depends on if he's, yeah, that's what he's doing. Save Lando just in case he gets in the other side of the MC-80, needs to take another big shot next turn. Hopefully he doesn't, but it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, now the question is, does admonition have a navigate?
If it doesn't, it's a glorious sacrifice.
Oh god.
It's going to do massive damage to the MC-80, which should be enough for the TRC-90s to hopefully mop it up.
These ships are not, Captain ICT ships are not in a good location.
No.
He's saying something moved, and I'm not sure what.
I'm not sure either. And again, I was moving between web pages. In fact, it looks like, though, based from that just flash of a maneuver tool, the MC-80 might not actually be able to move. And if it does, then it's not even repairing its damage. And if that's the case, Yavaris being already dealt a damage card, we might see Admonition take its side shot at Yavaris and a rear shot at Yavaris.
It might have been the station that moved.
The station did move, yeah, because Admonition was on the station.
Well, let's see how they want to resolve it. Do they want to hit backspace until it clears out and risk fucking everything around?
As long as no one types after the start hitting undo.
Mm-hmm. A very important distinction to make. I mean, as the TO, I'm perfectly content to just move it approximately and call it a day.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how long ago it happened as well.
Maybe while one of the squadrons is moving around. Someone may have grabbed it and moved it by mistake, thinking they were moving a squadron.
I mean, technically, we have a video replay. Because, yeah, then Yavaris might not actually be on the station. I don't remember if it moved on to it or not.
I'm
yeah,
pretty
the
sure
M-
Yavaris moved onto the station,
I know
and
the
they were both
MC80
on the
was.
station at once.
I remember now that the MC80 was on it for sure. Ammunition
But it was
on the car.
just barely on it.
Yeah, just get rid of the station. That sounds good, Zanos.
Yes, let's sit through the entire vlog. Yeah. Excitement abounds here in the matchup of the week.
Technical difficulties. Ironically, I now remember my first round matchup that I was spacing earlier on. So long after that conversation expired.
Alright. Put up a little technical difficulties blurb there.
Yeah. Get some background music for the people here.
Looks like Matt Shadowlord is going to set it.
That is the wrong music. Alright.
Alright. Alright. Let's get this
We had a
show on
slight
the road.
optical malfunction here. Everything's good now, though. How are you?
Who am I talking to? What's your identification number?
Pew pew. It's a boring conversation anyway. Joey, we're gonna have company.
And we broke line of sight.
Ah.
Good thing we have line of sight number 2.
Yeah. Though sometimes that means players can't click on things. Alright, line of sight 2 will be used. Get some anti-squadron shots out the front. I suppose you could maybe take a long-range shot out the side.
Could.
Yeah, you just barely got the cardboard there. More than a little, just barely, but AA instead. Trying to free up those B-wings as quick as possible. One blue at Jan. Got a hit.
Hit.
And a blue-black at the X-Wing. And gets 2. Starting to hit that damage.
Crump, crump, crump. I'm just waiting for something to come out that has a red anti-squadron die.
Yeah, that would be interesting, to say the least. You could technically, I believe, use your turbo laser reroutes to get a double hit on your anti-squadron shot.
Ooh, yeah. And it'd be hard to justify making something with red anti-squadron die that doesn't have turbo lasers.
Yeah.
Thumpity thump.
Yep. At least he doesn't take a damage, but Yavaris will.
That begs a fun question. Admonition. Does it shoot Yavaris?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question, actually. I think I mentioned or threw it out there, but I'm pretty sure we had technical difficulties kind of interrupting. I don't know with the obstructed shots if he would have enough damage. You know, he just barely was able to kill Salvation. But with Yavaris now having 1, it's possible.
And I think he's got double arc on the side.
That would make it much more possible. If his side has the arc on the side, Yavaris could probably die. And that's kind of tempting, actually, to take that shot. In fact, I think I would. I would take that over doing damage to the MC-80. Because as long as you have the navigate and can sit behind the MC-80, just taking 1 shot, I think you're in a good position. Can then again run away the next turn.
And does he have that navigate? Well, still two ships and two squadrons to play.
Yep. Yeah, there's this. The activation game is heavily in Zanos' favor. These CR90s are really going to start to do some work this next 2 turns. After this turn, obviously, since they're out of range.
You can bet these guys are going to come in hard and fast. They can smell the blood in the water.
Yep.
Hell of a turn 2.
Yeah. This game has admonition just went in fast and hard. Still got more hitting to do. Chain is light, speeding up, looking to get that long range double arc.
And there it goes. May have probably doesn't have that double, but
No, the side arc's a little. I think it's a little far even to have your Vars. This CR90 does not want to run over that obstacle.
no, it does not.
So just saying it's speed 3. Yep.
I don't think too many people can believe that MC30 survived that round.
Yeah, yeah.
It had the decks way stacked against it.
It was stacked against it, but there was, we were calling the chances that it could survive if certain things happened, and those things happened. I will admit it's very lucky he didn't have to use the Lando. That side broadside roll was just atrocious.
He may get it yet, but the damage will be done.
Mm-hmm. Especially if he kills Uvaris, then he's made up admonitions points and basically made the game his to lose at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I would be careful about getting in range of Dutch. You don't really want Dutch squadron activating and toggling your YT every round.
No.
Like he's just more concerned about getting in there though and tying stuff down.
Yeah, I think he just wants to make sure that none of them are going to be available to chase his ships. Trying to hunt Luke.
That'll be 2.
if, and it's a fairly large if, Yavaris manages to survive this next round of shooting, there's some real pain that it can dish out in the squadron game.
For sure, which is why I would probably take the shots on Yavaris over the shots at the MC80. More tangible, piece removed from the board, and activation, lots of extra damage, especially in the squadron game. Because if you're looking at the points, if Zanos loses all of his squadrons, that automatically takes away the possibility of a 10-0. Though obviously this game is far from that being anywhere near what it's looking like yet. But it is something which actually your articles got me to start actually thinking about, is kind of those losses you can take when you're building a list or planning on a fight.
Yeah.
Those losses you need to kind of be aware of.
It's a lot harder to plan around now with the new tournament points, and it being that 50 points right there between 350 or being the 400 complete table and the 9-1 350.
It makes it so kind of ironic considering the turbo laser reroutes are 51. It's like
it's perfect.
You're not getting it.
And that's why I like my Riken and my SW7Bs.
44.
And we're on turn 3. Moving at a fairly blistering pace. 1 turn an hour. Plus setup and all that stuff.
Yeah. It's going to start moving pretty quick now.
Yeah, there's a whole hell of a lot less on the board to slow things down.
Anyone want to bet against Admonition going first? I'll take the bet.
I bet the activation will go Admonition, the MC80, and then all of the other Zanos ships.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair guess.
Maybe some squadrons in there too, who knows?
I think that's also a pretty fair guess. My guess is those CR90s are starting to load up on concentrate fire as well. Though, not Jaina's quite yet, since it's still just barely out of range.
I give it one more turn of maneuvering for both. Get them into really good spots.
Well, they do both have tokens. So, at speed 3, I think you could afford a concentrate fire on the revolver Bobcat there.
Fair enough. I tend to go a little crazy on navigates anyway.
I do too. In fact, concentrate fire is pretty much only used on small ships for me. Well, on CR90s really. Very rarely even on raiders.
My local meta just loves concentrating fire on ISDs, and I don't understand it.
Yeah, so much more from different commands.
They also like taking, like, between 2 and 4 TIE fighters as their only fighter cover. And I've been trying to show them that that is not a good idea.
Just run the Independence B-Wing list and wreck face.
Well, I've been kind of showing them with 6 A-wings and 2 YT 2400s, and
yeah, that'll do some damage.
They're slowly but surely learning their lesson.
Yeah, and there goes admonition.
Of course, of the 3 store championships that we managed to go to in the area, I only got to play in one of them. I TO'd another one, and then I already had plans to go out of town for the third, so I didn't even get to participate. So I'm kind of been a little light on Armada the last couple weeks, and it's disappointing.
Yeah. Admonition does have a navigate. Zanos saying, I don't know any other order.
Good man, Zanos. Good man.
I agree with the most part. I'll usually throw in 1 engineering when I think would be appropriate for an MC30. And he's going for Yavaris. Going for the money.
Getting that money shot.
Wrong color.
Wrong color.
Oof.
Good thing that this is going to be saved for posterity, Zanos.
Yeah. I'd probably go for re-rolling the hits with Ordnance Experts, because the TRC is not actually getting extra damage right now.
Actually, TRC will get 1 extra damage.
Well, yeah, it'll get
from 0 to 2
here, but basically it's not crossing that brace threshold. So re-rolling a single hit isn't that much of a risk unless you roll blanks on both ones.
But it's going to get 1 critical through, and then an additional 3 damage after the brace.
Yeah, if it's a structural with the Donna here, it's a kill. If not, then maybe the re-roll might have helped.
Betting big on Donna.
Structural's in there, 2 of them.
Kerboom.
I will do it. That ram damage coming in big.
Seriously. And that lets him take that second shot out of the front arc.
Yep. Doubt he'll be looking to use a TRC since that extra defense token is going to be handy. So he's moving away. Or just a burn. MC30. Talk about a ship that can get it done. Very often I have these instances where you get just that last point of damage. Just enough to get the kill.
And that'll bring the score to 13 to 146 in favor of Zanos. Damn, son!
Wow. Don't even. Yeah. Wow.
Just wow.
These are clone trooper dice.
That's just entirely unfair. What's even the point of redirecting that? You're taking it on your offside.
Yeah, I agree. Shield failure, damage controls for overlapping. That makes the station overlap a lot less positive. So obviously the station overlap will heal that the first turn, but I think you still take the 1 from it.
I'm thinking shield failure does the most total damage.
Yeah. That's the thing, is any of these crits that would be in effect are going to just get discarded right away, so.
It's like a structural, but for shields.
Yeah. Does 1 extra. Ooh. He's giving him the controls.
You have chosen poorly.
I mean, it will do 1 damage next turn, so it's kind of offset.
Well, I mean,
the
this
ram.
turn it'll
This
overlap. He'll discard it and
take 1. I would definitely take all
actually.
3 areas.
I'm thinking here that the actual ruling may be because the overlap of the station and the overlap effect of the card take place in the same essential space, that as the active player, Captain would be able to choose which order to resolve them, and thus could resolve them in such a way that he resolves the overlap of the station effect first, discards the card, and then the card's not there anymore.
That could be true, depending on what the ruling is, or what the wording is, and timing on that. Yeah, damage. Clone Trooper has it in chat. Damage controls is when station is after. So the 2 effects are slightly different, with damage control happening first when you overlap, and then the stations after you overlap.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Zanos with the navigate, he's just got to make sure that he doesn't get in that side arc, because that would spell doom for sure. Getting double arced.
Well, going off the table would spell doom even more for sure.
Yes, but he's doing it. I would have played it down a little more. Oh, I guess he's staying at speed 4. Trying to get out of the rear arc as well, but he's got no shield.
I don't know if he succeeded in either one of those.
No, I kind of feel like that's a little bit of a mismaneuver there.
Well, he can't do them all right. Although he should be well away from the squadrons.
Yeah.
And here's a good chance for Captain ICT to turn things around a little bit. Got a pretty good chance of swatting most of those squadrons off the board. Here comes the first shot. And that'll be one hit.
Trying to kill off the X-Wing before Dutch can then shoot at a YT, I would assume.
That seems reasonable. Be one less thing that can fire at Luke, which I think is the goal here.
Wisely using the squadrons out of range already. Get them into the fight.
Can't brace Jan, or can't cancel the brace with the accuracy, so that'll bring that X-Wing down to 1, and let one more B-Wing try to finish it off.
Yeah.
And that's a dead X-Wing.
You know, at this point, I don't know if the B-Wings are going to be able to do much. It might be an idea to kind of try to disengage with some of the squadrons.
Those B-Wings are going to be needed to try and splash the assault frigate as it comes in. I'm not sure how many shots they're going to be able to conceivably get on the CR-90s with their maneuverability. But as long as the MC-80 keeps doing squadron commands, anything's really possible. It's still a very dangerous ship on the board with more or less full health.
More or less. So 2 rounds of CR-90 fire will bring it down. And we'll definitely be seeing Lando on this year.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely would have probably tried a little harder to stay out of that side arc. I think he had the maneuverability to do it as well with his navigate and stay on the board. Oof. Ooh. Wow. Well, that'll keep him alive for now.
He'll have to discard to kill the double hit.
Yeah. Discard the evade. Want to keep that redirect.
And then we'll see what the crit comes through as.
It is Dodonna, this is true. If he somehow survives this, I will be flabbergasted. Damage munitions, power failure, thruster fissure, disengage, fire control. None of which really do much at this moment.
No, not really. And he still has that redirect left for the next shot.
An injured crew there to discard a defense token would have been pretty big. Keep it from admonition, because if he doesn't get an accuracy here, he's going to redirect 1 damage and then cancel another die. I don't think you're killing admonition with that. If you get 1 accuracy, this best case scenario, 1 accuracy, double hit, or crit, I should say. Evades the double, or sorry, admonitions the double, and then takes another crit. So this is going to be a close one. I think admonition has a chance to survive here.
Power failure to reduce the engineering value.
Yep. There's the accuracy. We're going to see the crit gotten rid of, though, and admonition will have 1 hit point left. Wow. 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 Right now,
Dang.
I can't even. His admonition is gone next turn at speed 4. Wow. Admonition will survive.
It went and played with everything and sneaks off into the distance.
That is the worst feeling in Armada, when a ship gets away with 1 hull. Happens to me sometimes, and it's the worst feeling in Armada. Admonition still had 3 shields on the front, however, so that's interesting. That early discard of the single redirect kind of almost coming back to haunt it.
Yeah, I don't see any way that admonition, still going speed 4, is not going to get completely out of red range in this with its next maneuver.
Yeah. Did get out of black range, though, that turn. So that's pretty big. Minimize some extra incoming damage. Now, it depends on how risky Zanos is going to play this, but at this point, if, admonition in surviving, if he loses 1 YT and Jan, or excuse me, I think he can afford to lose 1 YT or Jan, but if he loses both, like he loses 1 YT and Jan or 2 YTs, I think that puts him over the 50 points we were talking about earlier. So if he's really, really going hard for a 10-0, he would have to disengage with the fighters now.
Well, here's the problem with that, is if he disengages with his fighters now, that is a B-wing cloud that is fixing to just eat his flagship.
It is definitely a B-wing cloud. It depends on, I think the B-wings are still, they're a little ways away. His move, I think, would get them in striking range, though, yeah. But remember, he can lose 1 YT or Jan, so he can leave the 1 5 health activated YT there, tie up the squadrons for 1 more round, and then hopefully 1 more round.
I suppose it all depends on how greedy he wants to be. Does he want to go for the 10-0, or would he be content to push for a 9-1, 8-2?
Yeah, that's the thing, which it really depends on player style. It's funny because I'm kind of an aggressive player, but I tend to be more conservative when it comes to risks. So, I would probably leave him in there and just kind of secure it, but totally depends on he's playing pretty ballsy, so
Really going for Luke.
yeah. Now YT should be able to finish that up. And if he still has squadron command, he may move into range to squadron command his squadron's next turn. Though I suppose obviously admonition does have to move first.
There is an ugly shot.
Yeah, just barely squeaking by. Yeah, I think he does as well. He was slightly off his own dot on the side that's more favorable to captain, so
Yeah, I know. I've definitely gone the laser level route as well.
yeah.
And sometimes very necessary.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with all the squadron stands around.
I know I've told people, as a TO, I've told people to roll off to see if something hits before.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done that myself. Multiple times. There's some red dice. And see, this list, whenever I used it as well, this assault frigate doesn't really do damage to anything.
No. Naked assault frigates rarely do.
It's like TRC corvettes. Assault frigate's just there for extra hit points for the admiral. And a squadron.
There to give the admiral a brace and an electronic countermeasure.
Yeah. Probably should have even considered dropping like gunnery teams for the boosted comm, since it doesn't really seem to do much damage.
Hey, that upgrade looked good at the time.
Yeah. It's like, hey, it's assault frigate, of course you're taking gunnery teams. Haha. Haha.
And here's the place where the long-range engagement really favors the smaller rebel ships.
Yep.
No evades for the MC-80.
And you just, as long as you can get in medium range, you're just, then you're getting a little risky.
And the assault frigate gets all up-ins.
Yeah. Flood that arc.
Gonna get 8 by B-wings.
We'll see.
Maybe.
If he leaves the squadrons in there, I think he has enough to buy him some more time. Enough time to make the B-Wigs irrelevant. He went with the nav with the Revolver Bobcat, making sure to get that positioning.
It's what I would have done.
Seems like he's wishing he had a concentrate fire, though. Kind of ironically, he actually had range at the starter turn. And the nibbles begin.
Plink, plink, plink.
Wonder if we'll see Walex used. My guess would be probably next turn he'll just burn the brace some point. Maybe not though.
No. Now seems like a fairly good time to burn a brace away so that you can have it again at the start of next turn.
He could, but then he won't get it at the start of the turn because it's when the ship activates. So he'll be taking.
I know,
but admonition does have to go, so he'd only taking an admonition shot until he gets to go. An admonition shot at medium range, so probably would have been a good time to brace. And it's only 1 damage again though, so maybe he's hoping to burn it on a 4 damage roll or something. Zanos needs to be careful.
It's a danger.
Here, though.
It's a danger.
Moving up in close range here is kind of risky. You have to activate admonition first, so you're asking for 6 dice to the face.
I'd say a CR90 should be able to survive 6 dice to the face, but
well, that single accuracy can make the difference.
a double hit, getting a crit in there somewhere, and yeah, single accuracy. I mean, you need a really good roll to do it, but it is a possibility.
Yeah. I feel like Zanos is rushing his maneuvers just a bit.
But if he's expecting to pour the damage on, it's not a bad idea. Make that MC-80 shoot at something that isn't your flagship. Never a bad decision.
Yeah. However, if he loses a CR90 before it gets to go, that's going to be a lot of damage possibilities taken off.
Not like leaving it at medium would have been all that much better.
Are you rolling a red hit crit though? Or not hit crit, hit
Reds don't have hit crits.
Hit. 'Twas a slip of the tongue.
And Jaina's Rockies itself, but is Jaina's, so doesn't care.
Yeah. So it looks like a single YT to shoot.
I think we'll probably see Luke disappear here, and if he does survive, it'll be very, very lucky. Nope.
That will do it. We'll probably see those 2 B-Wings fire in return at that 5 health YT. Jan standing by with exhausted braces.
I don't think Jan's in range of that other YT.
But it is 1 to 2, so definitely.
Okay. I always forget Jan's not range 1 for the braces.
Yeah, it's so large. Won't be bracing that.
Oh, come on, ICT. You weren't going to be doing more than 1 damage anyway.
Well, it would be burning trans braces, so. And there's 2. Will he brace? My guess is no. Save it for next round. Possible 4 braces.
I'd burn it. What's the point of that many braces on a 2-hole Jan with no escorts?
True. He is burning. Thing is, only one B-Wing can shoot at Jen right now. Though I guess there's a few that could move since they're kind of out of range of some of the YT cover. Turret 4.
Finally getting moving here.
And for the 3rd turn in a row, we'll see Big Bossa go first, is my guess. Be ashamed.
Oh, yeah. Be ashamed not to.
Yeah, be ashamed to forget.
Be pretty hilarious.
It would not be hilarious at all. I might die, but not of laughter.
Yes. See what he's gonna do. Yeah, maybe move him. I think now's a good time as any, as we sometimes do between rounds, to talk about the key points to the game, and I think we can say that Zanos definitely set the tempo to this game right from the very beginning.
That he did. Came in aggressively.
Squadron play. I feel like Zanos is really getting his money's worth from squadron engagements.
Yeah, definitely. He was able to take out Jan, which really was a big deal. Definitely kept Admonition alive. It's, yeah.
And as far as protect the big boys is concerned, Admonition lived through a little bit more than it had any right to. But
yeah, I think that's definitely fair.
But I'm not even sure that that's fair to even say, because Admonition took out more points than it was even worth. So even if Admonition dropped, he came out ahead on that exchange.
Yeah.
Just the
repair. He won't be moving 3 shields though with engineering failure. Power failure, excuse me. And doesn't power failure round down, so it becomes 1 engineering?
Yes, it does round down.
Yep.
When everything else rounds up, it feels weird saying round down.
Yeah. It is a little, which it makes it extremely annoying for 3 engineering ships that cannot cure their damage cards then. However, this shouldn't matter since he should be getting out of range for sure at speed 4. Got a damage. This is parting shot.
Can't spin up
Definitely quite a
because it
big
has
deal.
no tokens.
Yeah. Definitely quite a big deal there with the turn from Dodonna's tank, getting it out of close range of admonition. That's most definitely the right move.
Run, little MC-30, run.
Yeah, maybe turning a little upwards will actually help. Kind of swing his rear out a little.
Yeah, you don't want to stick your rear into a place that might still be in range of something. And let's see.
Oof, gotta get rid of that tool. Oh my, zooming in. Vessel has run out of memory. I can't zoom in anymore. He definitely probably should have popped his rear upwards a little there. But I think he's still out. See, I'm having
I have to disagree. 200% zoom looks like it's getting cardboard.
I couldn't see the 200% zoom when you're in the stream. It disappeared.
It'll be 3 shields repaired on the MC-80.
Yeah.
No squadron commands this turn. One to the front, left, and rear.
Did he already have an engineering token?
Yeah, he banked the engineering token his very first turn.
Ah.
And that should be just good enough. He does clear admonition from the board, but that's a turn he isn't spending shooting anything else. Maybe too little too late.
Yeah, I think if he had done that turn upward, his rear would have swung down. At power failure, meaning not being able to move 2 shields.
Actually, a good and right call for that crit.
I would have to disagree with you there, Zanos. Admonition is not a suicide bomb. Worth a little too many points to be a suicide bomb.
Just a little supposed to be a hit and run ship more than anything else.
Yep.
And shooting anti-squadrons out the front.
Probably see Jan's brace used. Nothing else is gonna do more than do 4 damage, so might as well use it.
And crunch goes the MC-80 into every squadron.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking straightforward gives him the best shot, but I don't think any maneuver escapes the side arc.
Yeah. And he wants to make sure he still lands in the station.
And there goes most of his squadrons.
Yeah. And with seeing an engineering last turn, I think we can probably assume there might not be any more squadron commands.
They're probably done now.
So at this point, not engaging the B-Wings is probably just as effective as engaging them, because they're not going to do much if they're only moving or shooting.
And now we're in a damage race to see how quickly that MC-80 can be brought down.
It is going down fast.
Yeah, a pair of CR90s can do some pretty ludicrous damage.
did get out of the side arc of the, or kipped out of the side arc of the assault frigate. I think that's probably going to mean one more activation for the MC-80 next round. So probably staying out of its side arcs with the CR-90s is going to be a priority.
Did he have Jan in his range?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure Jan's far out of medium.
Always so hard to eyeball it when I zoom in and out. Yep, doesn't have it.
Jan's going to be looking to finish off that squadron if Y1 doesn't do that.
Well, one's certainly going to try, but
It
is
will
not
not
going
do
to
it.
succeed.
Jan might even have a hard time.
He's saying he does have the front arc. No, never mind. I misread that. I'm getting tired too. Getting tired too. Is he going to do a rammy ram? Probably going to do a, yep. Starting the thumping early. Or, in the middle of round 4. Either way.
Yeah. If he's able to finish off the MC-80 at the top of the next round, I think it's a pretty tall ask. Even with Rams. But it might be possible.
So right now the MC-80's at 7 hull, having overlapped the station and repaired the only damage on it. And it's got good shields in the directions that it's going to get shot at. So I don't think that it's going to happen at the top of the round by any stretch of the imagination. But I've been wrong before.
Yeah, just barely as a side. Be rolling that red. Auto double hit. Wow, and he rolled it naturally, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
That's just insult to injury.
Correctly decides to spend his concentrate fire on that one.
Yeah, and leave it at that.
Sure enough. There's a good spot for a brace. But just goes for a redirect.
Front to side. ECM, the accuracy is worthless, but still 3. Force the ECM if he wants it.
Not going to block more than 1 damage with the brace this round of shooting. I mean, maybe 2 with Jaina's light.
Hopefully he can stack both CR90s in the rear arc. They have nav tokens, so they should have the maneuverability to dodge the side arcs.
Takes the contain and a damage card.
Alright.
That'll move him to 6 hull remaining. Goes for the ram. Brings it down to 5 hull.
That's kind of a risky choice, leaving it in the side arc though.
Must be counting on that kill. Got some long range shooting.
Yep. No obstructions. Wisely waiting to do Jaina's last. There's 3 more. The 3 damage rolls just are a pain for Brace. It's just plinking it away.
No arguments there. Yet another reason why the SW7B is so much fun.
Yeah, the little CR90s can just tear away at the ISDs and MC80s, excuse me.
And when 2 of them blow up, taking down a 180-point ISD, who cares?
Well, I care.
I mean, sure, I'd like that 88 points back, but whatever.
Yeah, and with a double arc incoming next turn with concentrate fire, this MC80 is gone.
That should burn
again.
his contain. He'll take 2 more damage, so bringing him from 5 down to 3.
Yeah, he's gone.
Nope, I don't see him getting another activation in there.
Nah. The squadrons will though. They'll get their extra shots.
Both this turn and the next.
Yeah.
Chance to clean up a few YTs and maybe briefly consider swatting at a ship.
At this point with Jan, I would definitely consider just moving her away to deny some points.
Well, guess not. Players definitely getting a little fatigued. And the announcing crew getting a little fatigued as well.
Yes. He did get the kill though. And if I'm doing my math correctly and the score is correctly updated on the screen so far, I think even if Zanos loses the 2 ITs and Jan, it's going to be a 9-1 by like 4 margin of victory.
Scores updated correctly now that that B-wing has been destroyed.
Ah, yep. Dutch is going to find it pretty easy to finish off that YT.
Yeah, Dutch should have a pretty easy time of it here. Just needs one.
Wow.
Nope.
Wow.
That's unfortunate. Not really going to matter for points in the end.
Yeah. But dice like to just pour salt whenever they can.
Yeah, you got it, Black 3. You get down with your bad self.
That'll do it. Well,
There you go.
Jan will brace. Jan brace. Brace it. You know you want to. There it is.
God, this is painful.
Yeah, those B-wings, they're not gonna do anything there.
No, they're not.
The CR90s will just speed up to speed 4. Unless they burnt their tokens, some of them may have.
And it's all over now but the MOV.
Yeah.
Point totals definitely aren't going to be different. Essentially, no matter what happens.
Yeah. Like, because, yeah, even if he loses Jan and the 2 ITs, it's still a 9-1 by like 4 margin of victory. And there's the concentrate fire. And there's a dead MC-80.
Yep.
TRCs itself secures the kill with a ram, so wisely
Good
chooses the
spin
crit.
up. Good spin up. Brace and redirect.
None of those matter. Well, coolant discharge might. Well, it won't, but it's probably the best one. Or capacitor failure, but like I said, not gonna matter.
No,
TRC,
really doesn't.
TRCs guarantees you 1 from your next shot, and then you ram if you have to.
Don't forget he does have the concentrate fire. So he's got a blank on literally everything to not get this sealed.
Even then, like a blank is TRC'd into a double hit, which is
Right, and then you ram, but you don't have to.
No. But even if he rams, he's not in any danger of dying, even with best B-wing rolls on those two.
And that'll do it.
Yeah.
And that is a very dead MC-80.
Yeah.
We'll see if Captain ICT even wants to play through the squadrons. Probably not.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, though, he probably doesn't know that the points don't matter.
Well, as close as your two teams are, it might in fact matter as far as certain things can go.
Oh, tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker, yeah. It will be MOV.
This is true. Run away with Jan. Run away. So I suppose if we're doing that, then the assault frigate might be taking some anti-squadron, because killing.
Trying to drop key in, yeah.
This has been one crazy game. As a concentrate fire, won't do much against Keen, but hopefully just guarantee that 1 damage.
Please don't waste time shooting the squadrons that don't matter.
Yeah, Keen's the only one.
Why are you wasting your time shooting the squadrons that don't matter?
Gotta be careful with his assault frigate movement here. If he rams the CR-90, gives it damage, overlaps Black 3, which then lets Black 3 get into a position to shoot on the CR-90, he could be giving shots to the CR-90, like on the CR-90, healing shots.
That would be kind of funny. I'm a big fan of funny things.
I can't tell. I gotta zoom in a little. Can't tell where the station is. Okay, yeah, the station is not obstructing anything. However, he could always move Jan and then move one of the YTs down to engage the B-Wings. Dutch is heavy, so if Keen goes down from Jan and the 1 health YT, the 4 health YT could move. However, Dutch...
Or the other way around.
Well, I think YT1 is engaged by Black 3. Just barely. Yeah, that B-Wing won't get a shot. There's no way it can get an unobstructed, I don't think. Well, maybe it can from the side there.
Yeah, that looks pretty legit.
Oh, no ram, though, because he did slow down the token.
Still 6 dice. Possibility of doubles.
Yeah.
7 damage needs to squeak through.
I would definitely move Jan, give Keen, or Keen already has heavy, so yeah, one of the YTs can just move, and then it's fine. Move the 4 health guy. So we'll see if he moves a YT.
What is the plan?
Come on, Zanos, move the YT. Move the YT. Put it beyond all doubt.
Whiff.
You can still move the YT. You can do it.
Haha.
Nope, he's not moving the YT.
But gets a perfect shot.
Yeah. But now Dutch is gonna probably, maybe, depends on how he's feeling. But Dutch could shoot the unactivated YT, activate it, and then B-Wings get shots.
It depends on what he wants to do. Go for the easy kill or gamble. What's it gonna be?
I suppose he could move the YT-2400 that just shot at Kian, because now it's free to move.
He could.
Nope, no move. Zanos is passing it over. Captain giving a good chance there for him to consider. Captain ICC very carefully, I think, weighing whether or not to activate the squad or go for the extra points on killing
Well,
YT1.
here's the obvious answer. Shoot with one of the B-wings, see what you get. If you get good enough to think that you want to go for it, then fire Dutch.
Yeah.
If you fire that B and it's a bad roll, then Dutch can shoot the Y1.
Yeah. Not a bad move. It looks like he's choosing to attack Y2 though. Gonna toggle him, and that'll do it.
Gets the toggle.
So the B-wing shots.
Wrong one. All right, here we go. 7 damage. Or wait, no. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 damage.
So I'm pretty sure he needs the perfect roll. Yeah, he needs, or some crits, some decent crits.
Some decent
Structural
crits.
damage. Oh, but Dodonna's gone, so it has to be top. But yeah.
Some decent crits, maybe an accuracy to cancel the redirect.
Yeah, I definitely redirect this one. There's the redirect. Another 2. That'll burn the redirect there, I'm sure. Yeah, and then, yeah, there's no chance now. Even with a structural, it's left at 1.
Might as well take it just to be. Nope.
Yeah. Well, that is the game.
.227 MOV and a 9-1 win for Zanos and Back to the Future. Congratulations to Zanos and congratulations, JJ.
Yeah, definitely thoroughly impressed by Zanos' tournament performance this tournament. He's played amazingly. Especially considering it's like fleet he was given to. Like that's just it blows my mind. And a very, very fitting winning poster.
I thought so. I had the bees picture for ICT if he squeaked out the win.
Ah, nice. I suppose I had a sound effect for that one. Just
Good one.
because.
Just always good to have. Always good to have.
Should I play it just for the crowd?
Sure, play it.
No, God!
Oh, whoops, wrong one. Wrong one. It's late.
Not the beast! Ah! Open up my eyes! Eyes! Ah! Ah!
Keep that one in for a rainy day. I'm sure we're
Yeah.
I'm sure we're not seeing the end of B lists.
I'm sure not. They are fun to play. I have played a few myself, and they're pretty fun.
Well, I think that's about it here, unless you want to grab Zanos and get him into the chat for a little post-game interview. I think we're gonna wind this down.
Yeah, it looks like they're chatting in the game. I'm pretty sure both players had mentioned they were pretty tired before, though, so they're probably looking to head to bed. But yeah, I think this game was pretty crazy. Don't really have many words. I think we summed up most of it during the game. Good tempo control from Zanos, and he went aggressive, and it paid off.
So taking a look at the standings here, after the first game you guys have played together, you guys are now tied in tournament score. However, they have a little less than 300 MOV on you, so
Yeah,
that's a problem.
guess we'll just have to do a little better. Should be an interesting few games coming up. Looks like we have Green Knight versus myself in the morning, my time at least, Central Time, USA, on Tuesday. And I believe Madigmire and Chilligan will be playing this coming weekend sometime. So
That Tuesday is a game that I would have absolutely loved to make a game of the week. However, it looks like I am working that day.
Well, a vlog will have to do then.
I guess so. Oh well.
It is in the morning too, so probably harder for people to watch anyway.
Well, I mean, by putting it out there, I can make it so people can watch it on YouTube after the fact.
Very true.
There's actually some people that have been watching them, much to my shock and horror.
Well, it's always a good time.